guys, welcome to the tribe.
Welcome back, everyone.
Today's topic, we are going to get into our travels of Egypt.
Yes, we're going to be talking about Egypt. We're going to be talking about do's and don'ts, travel tips, what we've done, what we've been.
Yes. But before we get started, affirmation of the day.
Affirmation of the day. The affirmation of the day is, the earth is alive, and I am a cell of the earth. The earth is alive, and I am a cell of the earth. Okay, so
the earth
is alive,
and
I am a cell,
a cell
of the earth.
Or the first things that you need, even before you even go to Cairo, Egypt. You need to make sure that you have lowered all of your bills. Any kind of frivolous bills that you may think is not really going to affect you, make sure that those things are handled before you leave the country.
Another thing we have to look out for is your bank. Call your bank. Let them know that you're going out of the country. I went out of the country, didn't call my bank. I had so many problems throughout the trip, trying to take money out and then calling my bank back and forth. It was hard.
Visas too. You need to make sure that you apply for a visa before you even think about booking the ticket.
Right.
It takes about probably
It took us a couple of days.
Yeah,
Once
3
we
days.
signed up, it took a couple of days, but you never know. They could deny you. So you might want to get the visa before anything.
Right. I would also say currency.
Currency changes. Going to the currency exchanges, wherever you may find them for one of the trips, not specifically Egypt, because when we went to Egypt, I didn't take any money out. So that was why we suggested this. Take money out before you get to Egypt. Take as much as you can. And then when you get there, you should fare well. But even when you get there, take some cash out. Save yourself ahead of it.
Also, too, depending on where you go, they charge up fees
for car transactions.
Right. So, you want to be aware of that. You're not necessarily spending more than what you have to for any given service.
Right. So one thing that we definitely need to touch on, which is her biggest problem, is packing.
Yeah.
Before you go packing, I would say pack light. Like I would tell her, pack light, because when you get there, you're going to want to buy stuff. This girl, I'm carrying 50 pounds, 100 pounds of stuff through the airport. I'm like, yo, this is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah.
So we learned throughout the trip to pack light.
Yeah. And I realized I threw a lot of the clothes and shoes and stuff out just because it was too much after a while.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Highly suggest just pack essentials. And then when you get there, they have reasonable souvenirs and products, clothing for cheap. So.
Okay. Right. Now, let's move on to getting to the airport.
Yep.
Tell them about the situation getting to the airport and what you need to do to that's how to do it too.
Yeah, so we booked with an Airbnb prior to. The Airbnb actually canceled on us when we arrived to the airport in Cairo.
Right.
So we actually had to look for a quick hotel to figure out where to stay, because it was an inconvenience.
Literally had nowhere to go.
Yeah. Right. We didn't expect for that to happen. We realized, it's a pro and it's a con. We met someone within the airport that provided hotels, accommodation, car, taxi service. You name it. They provided a whole bunch of different services for tourists and people who were coming from a different country. So then that way it was a one-stop shop.
But the energy of it was a little different, because once you get the hang of it, you start to realize, all right, everybody's hustling. Especially when you get to the airport, because they're like, oh, okay, you're a tourist, I can get you.
Right.
I can set you up the hotel, I can set you up the spa, I can set you up with this trip. And as I'm talking to the guy, I see they're just upcharging everything, and I'm looking up on the internet like, this is an upcharge. For the convenience, we took it. Not everything, certain things I just had to keep saying no. And then we finally got the service and we got a hotel near the pyramids.
Yeah.
Right. That was the first place that we stayed.
Even when we got to the pyramid, that was, it was amazing, but it was a lot of panhandling. There was a lot of, and don't get me wrong, our Arabic was a little bit rough, but they definitely understand English. They know when you say no or when you say yes. They
understand body language more
Yeah.
than anything, you know, like energy. Also, the experience there at the hotel, there was everywhere you go. You have to understand Egypt is a very poor country. Like, there's poverty. So when you're going there and you're experiencing even in the hotel, everybody's trying to get a buck. And that was really like disappointing because it kind of ruined the beginning of the experience, the
Right.
beginning, not the whole experience, but it kind of ruined the beginning of the experience and not the experience for the pyramids.
Yeah, and we weren't sure what to expect. I mean, we're going there with our eyes open and our
Yeah.
hearts big, and
Yeah.
we realized like a lot of people, because of being in that state, they may not necessarily, especially around the pyramids, they didn't have that same heart.
Right.
They were looking for money. They
Come up. I mean,
come
some
up
of them
or-
needed it, but some were just straight serial hustlers and they were just trying to get this bread.
Right, right. So, but you know, for the most part, it was a great
Yeah, the first half was
because
still,
we
yeah.
stayed. We stayed at the hotel.
Right.
The hotel was literally facing the pyramids of Giza.
The Sphinx
As
all
soon as
day.
we open up our window, we go on the rooftop, we see the pyramids. So that was really beautiful to see. The conditions, however, within the hotel was a bit poor.
Yeah.
We were told by a lot of locals who were from there to not necessarily stay over there because of the conditions,
Yeah.
of the panhandling. They really bank on tourists and people who don't know. So we realized within that moment of we stayed there for about a day, right?
Stayed there for a night, yeah.
Stayed there for a night, and even when we stayed there, like somebody tried to get into our
Twice somebody tried to
hotel.
get into the door, like literally open the
Yeah,
door. I'm like, yo, what are you doing?
open
Like,
it.
energy. Like,
Yeah,
that was crazy.
it was super crazy.
Yeah.
We had to do a report on that.
And you never know.
Yeah, we had to warn people as we were like coming out just to let them know, like, just be careful. So after that experience of staying technically by the pyramids of Giza for
beautiful.
one night, we ended up going to the city.
Yes.
Now, we had the opportunity to be more with the tourists and like people that were in like really
Hotels,
high-end hotels, but for us and the way that we operate, we really like to be around locals.
We stayed at a hotel right in the middle of Cairo. So that was a great experience in itself, even though the hotel wasn't the best in the world, but again, we like to be amongst the locals. And
I thought it was great.
I thought it was beautiful, to be honest with you.
I mean,
yeah,
I thought it was great because we have room service.
Yeah.
There was a restaurant within the building, but you can order out very easily.
For sure.
The people at the front desk were very accommodating. Anytime we needed a taxi or we needed a guide, or they just kept checking in with us because they knew that we weren't from there. Also, too, we're young.
Yeah.
So it was another kind of like icing on the cake, but I thought it was a great, great experience.
You have a lot more freedom than you think in, like, because we took the service originally.
Yeah.
We didn't know how much freedom you had. Uber works out there. Uber works in Egypt. You know what I mean? Uber Eats works in Egypt. Like, they even have their own app where they deliver food and things like that. So, like, now looking back, we're like, wow, we'd have more freedom and had much.
If we didn't have a guide.
Exactly.
If we didn't pay for a guide. And that's really what it was. We paid for a guide and we were doing more of the more touristy things. But once we broke away from that guide, we was able to actually do things that other locals do and just speak to other locals and get recommendations of where to go and what to do. Instead of going to the pyramids of Giza or going to the Cairo Museum or, you know, going to different...
I was going to say, speaking of what things to do, like, what things did we do? What things did, you know?
I mean, we did quite a lot, if you want to be quite honest. But one of the things I would probably recommend is the Red Pyramids.
Yes.
I did a little bit of thorough research. Very similar to the pyramids of Giza, but less crowded. Less people know about it. People usually, especially us, because of what we're told, we usually go to the pyramids of Giza and we think like this is it. But it's so much. Cairo has so much to show.
Right. And it was absolutely beautiful. The original pyramids that we went to, I don't want to escape that. The Great Pyramids, the Khufu, Khafra, and all that. That was absolutely, it was the Sphinx, it was a beautiful experience. Like, just even driving to it and seeing it come up off the horizon, nothing like I've ever experienced, for sure.
Segue. So the word of the day is Paragon.
Paragon. What does Paragon mean?
It's a model of excellence or perfection.
A model of excellence or perfection.
They usually describe police officers, firefighters, doctors, as a paragon. So yeah, so getting back into our experience through Cairo, at least, we were able to go to so many different restaurants. I mean, we ate out literally every night because of the currency difference.
Yes.
Like, our dollar was like 10 times.
Yeah.
Or,
$1 US conversion rate was 35 Egyptian pounds. One of our dollars, 35 of the Egyptian pounds. So mind you, we're getting meals that in America would be about $35 for lunch.
Yeah.
We're paying $10, you know, for lunch. So for us, it was like a no-brainer to experience as much cuisine as possible, and an experience we did. I'm talking about traditional Egyptian foods, American foods. They had a pole out there, which, if you know, you know, which is like a French baguette spot. Yeah.
We went to a Mediterranean restaurant, and it had fresh falafels, hand-baked pita bread. I mean, the smell was just amazing. Like, the richness of the food, of the tea. And mind you, we didn't even tell you this. We went during Ramadan. So we actually we got to experience being around locals, or because we chose to fast during the day.
Right.
And we were able to have this amazing meal. Now, some days, because of course we're not Muslim, but some days we definitely indulged, and we went to different places, and we were able to experience for the time being. But for the most part, it was a great experience because we really got to appreciate and see the different and see quality within the food.
Right. And the food it's not to be understated, because when you're here and you're eating, and we just had an episode about the toxicity of the chemicals, all this stuff was fresh. The watermelon juice, all the juices were just straight fresh. The actual orange food, juice. I didn't actually have meat or anything like that, but if I was to, I probably would have had it out there, if anything. But the drinks, everything was.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Our experience during Ramadan. A lot of places weren't necessarily serving alcohol.
Basically none.
Yeah, so we had to go to like some of these
hotels,
Marriott, or like the Ritz-Carlton. Like, we had to go to these more traditionalized hotels that actually served it. And we saw the difference in pricing. The food cost more versus going to actual local Egyptian restaurants or restaurants outside of the hotel.
And yet not as bad still. It still didn't cost as much as America, but you can see the upcharge. We did go to one restaurant, we ate, and then when we left, we met a guy on the street. He just randomly came. He just probably felt our energy. And he started talking to us, and we were just like, we're just looking to probably get a bottle of wine or something to drink, or whatever the case is. Oh, I got you. He took us back to the shop. So he had a couple of people there, a couple of Black Germans that were there that we met. That was awesome. He got us our bottle. He took us on a horse ride. Legit offered us a new Airbnb to stay at, which was his, and he got us a boat ride. So we met somebody with a beautiful synchronicity, got our alcohol, and got a boat ride out of it.
And it was a great experience.
Amazing.
I mean, the boat ride was on the Nile.
Yes.
So we sailed, and then we came back to the dock. But even during that, it was a party.
Buffet style, singers.
Yeah, buffet style. It was people from many backgrounds. You name it.
And we were always the youngest.
Like, it was always us with like older people. And we noticed that even when we experienced going, further out in Egypt, we noticed that there was a lot of older
looking at us like,
like, what are you doing here? And we're like, we deserve to be here because this is what we want to do. We don't want to wait till we're 50, 60 years old to actually experience this greatness.
Agreed.
So now we're going to get into our phrases of the day. So the first phrase is a Spanish phrase, which is Soy de Nueva York.
Soy de Nueva York.
Soy de Nueva York.
Soy de Nueva York.
Perfecto.
Gracias.
And the Portuguese phrase is Eu sou de Nova Lorque.
Il sou de Nova York.
Oh!
Linguistics.
Linguistics.
Mm-hmm.
So, eu sou Genova Lorque,
El sol, yo no verlo.
which means I'm from New York.
I'm from New York. Indeed.
And there's another phrase where in Portuguese you can say, Eu sou do Brasil.
Il sol do Brasil.
Yes. So just in case you're coming from a different country, you would say Eu sou do, and whatever that is.
Beautiful.
So thank you guys so much for subscribing to our channel. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the comments and suggestions that you have been commenting down below. We are definitely seeing that and taking that into consideration. And we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Stay tuned.